Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sam United People's TV. It's Friday. We're wrapping up the week. We're going to be here tomorrow, 12:30. Early kickoff on a Saturday. Is he going to ruin the weekend? Hopefully not. We're going to run through all of the preview from Ruben Amorim in his press conference yesterday, speaking about Cunha, speaking about Mbeumo, speaking about the injuries, speaking about United being a better team than the Bilbao final. We'll also run through a little bit on Kobby Mainoo's future, some comments from Amorim and a little bit from Fabrizio and what's going on there. We'll run through the latest news. It's Friday. We'll get the map out a little bit later on. Let's have some fun. Yes, Sana Ronin, you spotted the haircut. Fresh trim. Come on. Right? Last early kickoff was Brentford. Brother. Right? Who's getting up to what at the weekend? Let me know in the chat. Let's have some fun today. It's a Friday show. Let me see who's here from the mods and the members, and let's say hello. Steph, good morning to you. Gungshi, good morning to you as well, buddy. Josh and Alex, you're there too. Steve Denham, we've got Fred Cranham, John Hammond, we've got Alan Noonan, John Johnston, Anders El Capitano. I'm a big fan of that username. Yeah, come on, Pete. What's everyone getting up to the weekend? Anyone doing anything spicy? Anyone behaving themselves? Anyone misbehaving themselves? Steph, you saying you're off to the pub to watch United? 12:30 kickoff. I think we've already had this conversation so many times. Like, what's the worst? What's the worst kickoff time? Yeah, 12:30 on Saturday just has the potential to run the whole bloody weekend. Playing in a pickleball tournament. What even is pickleball? I like pickles though. Used to hate pickles. Love pickles now. Got a new vacuum, says Derek. Oh man, that is the height. I feel sorry for you. If that's your biggest talking point going into the weekend, go on, Derek. You can do better than that. Someone down there saying go and see a comedy show in Luxembourg. Nice. Heading over to Dublin, says Johnny, on Saturday night. FAI Cup final. Who's playing in that? Can't remember. Gungshi, good morning to you, dude. Gifted 10 memberships. Can I say here, we're making some big strides towards finally getting the support team in place for the community. I hope to be able to tell you a little bit more about that at the start of next week. But yeah, it's something I think you're all going to be excited for. Because I've been speaking about, I want this for the community, I want that for the community. And nothing really much has happened for a couple of months. And it's not through a lack of trying or lack of investing. It's just taken time. But I think you're going to actually start seeing some real movement in November for the first time in a long time. I'm very much looking forward to that. Someone down there saying prediction against Spurs. Let's get the poll up, all right? I mean, we know what the result's going to be. Ask a question. Result against Spurs. Right? United win, draw, or Spurs win. And you know, like, you get sort of, when it comes to channels like this, and people are like, oh, do you do better when United are losing? I tell you what, I've realised. The real downtimes on this channel are when we draw. When we win, everyone wants to jump in, and when we win, it's so much fun being here. And these live shows and everything we do it's just more fun when you win. When we lose, there's talking points. There's things that we can dissect. There's things that we can discuss, and there's things that we can try and have a conversation about to move forward. But if you draw, which I didn't realise, my word, like nothing happens. It's kind of like exact same as it was before, and then nobody wants to join in. Daz, you're saying, would I take a draw? I think I probably would take a draw, if I'm being completely honest. But I do really think that there's an opportunity to be had against Spurs. And let's run through today's show. A little bit of random news this, but I thought this is quite significant. DAZN and TikTok are collaborating on the Southend Carlisle game. It's just going to be the first game where it's happening, where the whole game is going to get streamed on TikTok. So the first time that a National League game is going to be free and available to watch for everyone on TikTok. Now, I don't know whether that's going to ever trickle down into the Premier League level stuff. Probably not, given... Although, I think haven't they sort of changed how Champions League packages are being sold than they were previously? It's like, I swear Amazon had like one game. Anyway, for random, I thought it was quite interesting in terms of the shifting landscape of how football rights are sold. I wonder if that's going to trickle down into the Premier League. Probably not, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. Do I want to speak about it? I kind of do, right? I think it was Lars Basidi speaking about the Ronaldo interview, and like quite a few of you asked me about it yesterday, and I was like, truth be told, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, I don't particularly care. I think I very much realised why I don't care. It's because Piers Morgan is interviewing him. Like, I get why, if just pure and utter exposure is the only thing that you care about, but my word, could you choose a better interviewer than Piers bloody Morgan? Man, some of the questions he asked, he was glazing him. He may as well get on his knees. That's probably why I'm a little bit sort of disconnected from what Ronaldo has to say. Because he's sitting down with a person who I've got... the dirt on the bottom of my shoe gets more respect than Piers Morgan. And that will never change. That's probably why I'm so disconnected. And also, just to cover this, because Amorim was asked about the interview in his pre-match press conference. And I think this is a pretty fair response from Ruben Amorim. Because Ronaldo obviously criticising United, saying United doesn't have everything in place to be successful again. And when that was said a couple of years ago, they're obviously completely wrong true, because nothing had changed at this football club from an ownership perspective and a structural perspective for a long, long time. Quite a bit has changed. Quite a bit has changed in the last couple of years. And I would say I'm more optimistic about what's ahead of us compared to what's been behind us. And I think that's kind of the point that Ruben Amorim is trying to make there, with Cristiano sort of repeating things that he said, I suppose, around about the same time he did the first interview with Piers Morgan, behind the club's back, just after United won. And just after Garnacho, I think, scored the late winner against Fulham. And then all attention was taken away from that because of an unsolicited interview with Piers Morgan that was dropping, with bombshells that undermine absolutely everybody at the football club. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. It's an interesting... You make your choices in life. You choose to do those interviews with Piers Morgan. Well, yeah. It's going to change your credibility with certain people. Yesterday, the video version of the podcast dropped. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on. Now, this is a pretty cool thing for James Overy. If you don't know who James Overy is, he's a 17-year-old that we signed. I don't actually know where we signed him. Was it Perth Glory? I'm kind of guessing. We signed him from an Australian team. He's been in and around our academy teams for a while now, but he's had some big old injuries, and therefore he hasn't been able to progress. But he's kind of got over his injury concerns, and this is a big thing for him. So this is the senior Australia team. And you can see right there, where is he? Defenders. James Overy. He's been called up to the senior international team. And I think that's just a fantastic bit of news for him. As I said, 17. Hasn't made his United debut yet. Has he played for the under-21s? I don't actually know. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about him. As much as I do watch academy football, I don't know enough about this lad. So, might need to do a bit more research. Anyway, it's a pretty cool bit of news for him. And then, sort of a separate bit of news, which I didn't quite realise, is this, right? Harry Mass, of course, we know he's on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. But the loan spell only goes until January. Now, of course, they could just renew it. I mean, that's a possibility. But as it stands, Harry Mass is actually coming back to United in January rather than at the end of the season. It wasn't a season long. I didn't realise that. Now, probably strikes me that he'll either stay at Sheffield Wednesday or get another loan somewhere else. Because I don't exactly think that Harry Mass coming in and trying to get a foothold of United's left, because left wing back is a big problem position for us this season. But I'm not sure that's exactly the environment I want Harry Mass to come in and make his debut. But I just thought it was a bit random. Someone down there saying Ahmad to provide AFCON cover for Ahmad. Well, Ahmad plays right wing back. So not really got anything to do with that, for me, completely honest. And he's saying Diego Leon expected to be part of the first team by the end of the season. Nah, I don't particularly think that's going to be the case. I would disagree with that completely. Dazzy saying, how's he doing there? He's having a pretty decent loan spell, by all accounts. But we haven't yet done the video that we said we're going to do at some point. Discussing Harry Mass's loan spell, probably discussing Toby Collier's at West Brom, Radek Vitek's at Bristol City. Yeah, there's no chance that Diego Leon's coming through. I think there's probably more chance of Harry Mass returning from Sheffield Wednesday and coming into United's team than Diego Leon coming through. That's just my own personal prediction. And Boris saying, like, just give Leon game time here and there. He hasn't yet played 90 minutes for the under-21s. That's where he's at in his development level, all right? Travis Binion, I already covered the quotes earlier this week. He was saying about Diego Leon needs to play like back-to-back 90-minute games. We need to play 90-minute games at this particular moment in time. Diego Leon, no chance. Let's forget that. Anyway, interesting to see what happens with the Mass. I imagine you probably get the loan extended or another loan spell in the Championship. Don't quite know. But let's move on to speak about the first team. Starlord, nice little comments there. I like the new graphics across the top of the screen. Appreciate that, dude. More of those are coming. At some point, see this whole setup, all the live show format. I'd love to refresh this. I think it looks cool. I think it's always looked cool. But I think if you don't constantly refresh things, it will always get a little bit boring for people. So all these things up here, all the adverts for the t-shirts, we're going to be refreshing those completely when we launch the new poster range. So when the new poster range is there, we'll have a new one up there for every single one. And also for some other parts of what we do at United People's TV, because there's so many things going on at once. The Spurs game, right? Down there, probability. United apparently just about favourites. Is that favourites or more likely to win? Schwab saying, when are you getting the Christmas decor in? Does anybody remember the Cantona box? Anybody been here long enough? I randomly remembered it yesterday and I took a photo of it. Let me get it. This will make you laugh. Where is it? Man, this is a blast from the past. Anyone else remember this bad boy? I'm getting distracted again. Shocking, really. Speaking to the community and reacting and having a conversation. But that box, if I remember correctly, I think we had like if we hit like X amount of likes during the live show, we'll open the box and then give it away to somebody inside the live chat. I think we'll do it again. I promise you, and this is something I've wanted to do for a proper long time, but I'm about to be in a position where we're going to be able to manage it too. I want to do a full-on United People's TV advent calendar giveaway. So every single day in December, we'll give something away, small or big, and we'll build up to a big prize at the end, and we'll build that through the whole of December. It's going to be fun. But Spurs game, right? Let's run through it. Go on, Mbeumo. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago that happened. I've just found it in a cupboard. Not everything got lost in the move. I think we spoke about this earlier this week. It was like in terms of who you think the most important player is going to be against Spurs. But Bryan Mbeumo, you can probably say this every single game. He is one of the most important players in his team right now. If we're going to win against Spurs, that right-hand side's probably going to be our biggest threat again. It's Amad, it's Mbeumo. We're a right-sided heavy team right now because of a couple of things, really. Number one, we don't have a left wing-back who's cemented their position in the way that Amad cemented the right wing-back position. Delo, you know the weaknesses of Delo going forward. I don't have to explain those to you. Dorgu, been very hit and miss this season. I think that's a fair way to describe his season so far. And Cunha naturally drifts inside. That's the way he plays football. He drops deep and he drifts inside. That's why he impacts and affects probably more the game than Bryan Mbeumo, but probably why he doesn't get himself into goal-scoring positions as much as Bryan Mbeumo. But because we are so right-heavy, this man is ridiculously important. Johnny's saying, not sure we score against Spurs. Think we lose 2-0. I hope you're wrong. I hope you're all right in the poll. Somebody should go back through and just like screenshot all of these. If United's results were what the polls were in the live shows, we would literally go the entire season and win every bloody game. Martinez, of course, he's down here. Actually, let's have a little conversation about left wing back and that little thing I just mentioned there. Alex is saying, I feel like Dorgu should start against Spurs. Need the physicality if United are going to press high. I will agree on that. If United do operate that high press. I'm really going to be interested to see if we do. Because I think the end game Amorim version of United, I'm not saying we're going to do like the Jurgen Klopp heavy metal, insane headless chicken press. But the reason we scored 4 against Brighton was because we won the ball back in their half 3, maybe 4 times in terms of the goals. It's how we scored the goals. And it's how Chelsea had a stranglehold against Spurs. Was the high press. Caicedo supporting the press. The centre-backs coming up and supporting Caicedo to press. We compacted that pitch. We may have left a load of space in behind, but it worked. Someone down there saying, I think it's Cunha's chance to take his first game by the scruff of the neck for us. I mean, I'm definitely going to disagree and say that Cunha's never taken a game by the scruff of the neck. Surely Anfield was exactly that. I know Maguire was man of the match because of the goal and because of the moment, sure, and I agree with that. But Cunha was the man who took that game by the scruff of the neck. Cunha really, and Amorim spoke about it in a little bit of detail, calling him a Maverick, and I'll run through those comments soon. But yeah, Martinez, of course, still in training, still working on that left knee. You might see him in the squad against Spurs. You might see him travel rather than being in the squad, in fact. You might see him part of the matchday squad. Jace is saying he did it against Brighton. Well, he was my man of the match against Brighton. I came out there after and Mbeumo scored 2 goals. I spoke to a few Reds outside the stadium as well, and they're all like, yeah, Cunha was man of the match. Sekou Kone, that's really good for him. Training with the first team. It might only be in the gym, but it's good to see that his progress is going further forward. Of course, it was a fractured eye socket. That was the injury that he got. Therefore, no contact for a long, long time. But it's good to see him training and being part of the first team. Šeško is here. I ran through my starting 11 yesterday. We can, I suppose, speak about that a little bit later in today's show. Do you think that who do you think starts, Šeško or Cunha? Like, what's your front 3? Type it in the chat. There's 2 options. Our best front 3 on paper: Cunha left, Šeško up front, and Mbeumo on the right. But if you look at Liverpool, we did adopt a different approach, and it worked against Liverpool. And we had Mount left, Cunha up front, and Mbeumo on the right, and Šeško was on the bench, came off the bench. I think part of that depends on whether we're going to play the high press or not. Because I think if you are going to play the high press, Mason Mount is probably the best at it out of anybody in the squad, really. Anti's saying needs Šeško up top against Van de Ven. Oh. Maybe with... I don't actually know what Van de Ven's aerial duel sort of success rate is, but no one's going to get in behind that bloke. He's an absolute road runner. I'm more worried about Van de Ven's pace and ability to carry the ball than I would be about his strength, but he's also got the strength as well. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Gav saying, knowing Amorim, he'll play Mount. I'm not sure what you mean by knowing Amorim. There's certain games where he's played Šeško and certain games where he's played Mount. He's got options. We've actually got an attack that has genuine options. It's what a good squad should have, right? Cunha and Mbeumo and Mount and bring on Šeško later on, says Siraj. Cunha, Šeško and Mbeumo. Quite a few of you are saying that keep the same front three. Majority of you, I would say, are keeping the same front three. I don't know what to expect, I'll be honest. And I don't think Spurs will either, because there's different ways that United could approach this game. What I said in my match preview was that I think United have got a big chance to take advantage of how on edge that stadium will be. Like, they're all going to be G'd up because they won 4-0 against Copenhagen. They're going to come in like that, going, yeah, that doesn't matter about Chelsea. We'll spank United. Like, we've had their number for a long time now. Spurs fans have actually been coming into this game pretty damn confident. However, that whole stadium is going to be on edge. And if someone like Cunha can come in, I'm talking shithousery. I'm talking slowing the game down. I'm not saying like full tilt, run at them, press the like intensely. I mean, that might be an approach. But almost if you slow the game down and frustrate them enough, you'll start getting some murmurs and some whispers from the crowd. And that will affect the players. John, you're saying that Spurs will turn up. It's going to be a hard game. It is going to be a hard game. I know that. You know that. We all know that. I mean, 82% of you are saying United are going to win. I would not be as confident as that. I hope United do, but I wouldn't be as confident as that. But with Cunha, right? I just want to run through some comments from Amorim in his pre-match press conference. His words, not mine, about Cunha being a maverick. What do you think a maverick is? Like, what's the definition of a maverick in football, according to you? Let me know in the chat.
Cunha is a maverick. He plays with the ball, but he has an aura that can do something to the opponent's heads. Brian is really direct. You can see in the fourth goal that we scored against Brighton. You can sense when the ball is going to our defender, he's already running to position. And these kind of things, small things that people don't see, are massive.
What's your... Like, we all know how direct Mbeumo is and how much of a difference that's making. He's always on the last man. Who plays, I think, Spurs down that left-hand side? They're either going to play Jed Spence or, if he's fit, Udogie. And I think Udogie would be a tougher game for Mbeumo, if I'm being honest. But I don't know who they're going to play on that left-hand side. And then it'll be Van de Ven, won't it? I'm guessing it's Van de Ven and Udogie on that left-hand side. Teresa saying Cantona was the ultimate maverick. Yeah, I think he was. I mean, he was. I know that. But as I said, I was asking you what the definition was. Like, and you're saying a maverick is a player who can change the direction of a game on their own. I think that's a pretty damn accurate description. Like, mavericks are... Like, if you go into a party, sometimes there's somebody who's center of attention. Not because they're like a narcissist or like an attention whore, but they've got the energy that leads a room. And everyone's sort of like, immediately the heads turn towards them. Certain personalities are just capable of doing that. And Cunha is one of them at United. Mate, Amorim must be so happy that he signed these two. And it's not even it's not Captain Hindsight saying that. I told you that I remember there was one description that quite a few of you enjoyed in my just when I was explaining how I felt the team had changed. And I said, it really does feel like we've just got rid of quite a few boys and brought in some men. It felt like Garnacho. Yeah. Anthony. Yeah. Sancho. And replacing those players in the dressing room with the likes of Cunha, with the likes of Mbeumo. Boys to Men. Great band. Johnny saying, doesn't conform, enigmatic unpredictability. Very nice. Silent Ronnie saying, could you classify Bruno as one? I don't know whether I put Bruno in the Maverick category. If I'm being honest. What would I put Bruno in? For some reason, I'm going further back here. Like when I remember Paul Pogba coming in the club, Paul Pogba was supposed to be the catalyst for change. But I think with Paul Pogba, he was a player who was capable of coming into a good team and raising the ceiling of it. Whereas Bruno, when he came into United, we were crap and we were on the floor and he kind of dragged us out of the swamp. So he brought us from like 0 to 5. I don't know the best way to describe it. I know I'm waffling here. But I just wouldn't put Bruno in the same sort of Maverick definition that I would Cunha. And maybe I should. Yeah, red mist. You need a little bit of red mist. But the directness of Mbeumo, the Maverick nature of Cunha, is making United a much bloody better team. Like it really is. And we go back here and Amorim speaking about the final. Man, that trip to Bilbao. Spoke about that earlier this week. I want to forget about that. God damn. Man, that journey back. I mean, when you go to a European final, you should always expect a runaround route. But that was nasty. Anyway, speaking about it here, said, look, if you ask me, would you prefer to be here with a cup in the Champions League with more money, more players? Of course, I'd say yes. But you have the other side, more time to train, to know your players, to prepare the future with European competition. And this is what he said about United being a better team.
First of all, the characteristics.
It's a bit loud. The volume's all these videos, man, on a day-to-day basis. It's mad how much difference there is in the volume levels. Anyway.
Of the players. We have different characteristics in our team. But we also have a lot of players that play last year. So we are a better team. We play better. We understand the game better. I think we are more confident. We reached that final confident that we could win because we were doing well in Europe. But in this moment, we play with a different confidence. We managed better the moments of the game. But if you remember that game, they have that shot on the goal. They won the game. So I expect a different game.
What sort of game do you expect? Because I know we've had an up and down season. I know that there was, well, you know that I lost faith after the Brentford game. I just didn't see where the momentum was coming from. And since then, we've gone 4 games undefeated. We have the ability to go 5 games undefeated. We have the ability to beat Spurs and go into this international break with 4 wins and 1 draw in our last 5. And if we do that, I don't know off the top of my head now, but that would be the best run of form that we've probably had at Manchester United, I'm guessing, since that Ten Hag massive purple patch that we had after the World Cup in January 2024. I imagine that's probably around about the last time that we won 4 games and drew 1 in the last 5. That's what I think. Jace is saying, I'm expecting a Spurs low block with a few direct runs from deep. Defensive and boring, says Mikey. Spurs have upped their game too, says Wands. It depends which game you watch, mate. If you watch that Chelsea game, you watch quite a lot of Spurs in the Premier League this season, they have been very, very flat. Like really lacking creativity is how I would describe Spurs. They're like a workman's team right now. Resilient, good defensively, largely. They are fallible, not particularly confident playing out from the back with the ball. And they really haven't got that much spark going forward. Like, Kudus is an injury concern for them, so he might not even start. And I would say he's probably their most threatening player. Solanke is injured up front. Well, am I really going to be scared of Richarlison? Yeah, he's capable of a wonder moment, but Richarlison is like, if he was in my team, I'd be like, you'd be so up and down about Richarlison. Who else do they play there? Kolo Muani. Again, very capable of scoring a cracking goal. But I don't think he's a player you can consistently rely on. Xavi Simons is coming to the Premier League, and it's been tough. Maybe a little bit like Florian Wirtz. Yeah, I would agree with that comment down there. They missed Maddison badly. He was their playmaker heartbeat, and Spurs right now are just very, very cumbersome, very slow, and all the fans know that that's going to happen. This is my point. I want us to take advantage of that, and actually maybe playing a million miles an hour and going with the high intensity in the press. It might actually play into Spurs' hands because it will add energy to the game, and therefore the crowd will get more G'd up. If you slow it down and you frustrate the team and you frustrate the crowd, and then you try to exploit that, it might be a better mental state to be in. What are you saying down here? Brennan Johnson. Man, that goal in the final, man. Grim. It was an Ange Spurs that we struggled against. This is a new Spurs. They've had our number for a while, man. They really have. Kulusevski's missing too. Yeah. It's not to say that Spurs won't be a handful, right? They will be. They're going to have threats. They're probably going to be dangerous on set pieces. They have been all season long. But I want United, from a mentality perspective, I want United to go there nowhere near the same sort of game state that we had at Liverpool. You know what Liverpool was? It was like war, backs to the wall. I mean, it was a great collective performance there. I don't disagree with that, but I'm telling you, there is an opportunity right there. I suppose that's actually what we did against Liverpool. There is an opportunity right there. There is a fundamentally vulnerable team right in front of us. There is a crowd that's going to be on the verge of being hostile as soon as that first whistle blows. No one's going to be saying it, but 10, 15 minutes of frustration later, you're going to hear it from that crowd. Take advantage of that, man. That's what I want to see. And I hope that's how United are going into the game. And it would be very nice to get some revenge. When was the last time that we beat Spurs, says Linton? I don't know. Somebody remind me in the chat. Steph, you're saying one thing's for sure. We can't miss big chances that come our way. It's kind of what we didn't do against Brighton. We didn't miss our chances. We were clinical. Cunha, massively clinical with that goal he got against Brighton. Just overall. And we got a little bit of luck. And that's something that United have been getting in the last couple of games. The last few games, really. Think about Liverpool. We hit the post 3 times. The deflection from Casemiro. We've had our fair share of rotten. And even in that Brighton game, it bloody balanced out because it was an absolute stonewall penalty on Ahmad. So we'll call that luck coming for the deflection for Casemiro, balanced out by the fact that a penalty was robbed. Alex, you're telling me the last time we beat them was Ten Hag at Old Trafford. Jeez, what, the Ten Hag blueprint game? Where Fred scored? My word. It's been a while. It's been a while. Paul saying we'd love a repeat of the 5-2 in 2009. Was that in 2009? I'm sure it was earlier than that. Beckham scored in that game. Beckham scored 2 in that game? I'm sure it was earlier than that. Someone's down there saying Vicario's weak at set pieces. Yeah, we'll find out. I don't think we should be starting Maguire, by the way. I would disagree on that. For sure, I'd disagree on that. Amra was speaking about the goals that we're conceding. On the lack of clean sheets. Now, if you watched my preview, was that 5-3? You're getting me confused about old Spurs games now. 5-2 was in 2008. At Old Trafford. Who was that? Was Bale in the team at that point? Too many times we played Spurs. when it comes to clean sheets, look, my prediction was actually 1-0 United. And I think that is optimistic. When was the actual... I don't know this off the top of my head. Pub quiz question down there. When was the last time United kept a clean sheet in the Premier League? Have we had one this season? Sunderland? Sunderland. I promise... I kind of half cheated there. Who am I kidding? I did see Sunderland. So let's have a look at last times. So how many clean sheets have we kept? Nope. 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 One. Nope. 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 Wow. We've had one clean sheet this season. In how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can do the maths. That's less than 10%. Sunderland is the only clean sheet that we've had this season. No wonder Ruben Amorim is moaning about clean sheets. So maybe that was spectacularly wrong from me to predict a clean sheet from United. But Spurs really are... I know that Spurs are like one of the highest scoring teams in the league, but... Like, mate, if you watch that Chelsea game, you probably have the same sort of feelings that I do. They were just dismantled. And as good as Chelsea were, I don't think it was... You know, sometimes when a team plays... Like, a team plays so well that you're like, well, bloody hell, you couldn't do anything. Like, a team played so good that the opposition looked awful. Chelsea played well, but like Chelsea didn't play like mind-blowingly well. So well that like Spurs were just really, really crap at the same time. One clean sheet. That's nuts, isn't it? Rich, you're saying, please, baby Jesus, let us get into top 4. Weekdays are so boring now. And we were saying this in the pod, like, you know, when you're in European football, and you're like, oh, you're playing 3 times a week, it's exhausting, there's so much football. And then as soon as you don't have football, you're like this in midweek. You're like Pablo Escobar in the meme. Standing in your empty swimming pool like, where's football gone? And you're saying the frustrating part is we concede goals due to individual errors, not the opposition genuinely being good. That's not a big mix. Obviously, individual errors have played a big, big problem for us for a long, long time. I missed any other super chats. I think I might have missed some couple earlier. Mr. Men saying won't be here on Tuesday in London for the memorial. Hope you enjoy yourself. Really enjoy yourself. And you're saying Brennan Johnson, a.k.a. Wes Brown's love child. I'll have to ask Wes Brown that. I don't actually know, if I'm being honest. What was the next one? Could speak about that. A little bit boring. Nah, I don't need to speak about that. Let's move on to this. Does that mean Pablo Escobar? I thought it was a random... Well, not actually Pablo Escobar. It's from Narcos. Can't remember the name of the bloke who plays Pablo Escobar. But it was supposed to be Pablo Escobar. So, as well as... By the way, today, I think so. Don't actually know. Think we should be getting the photos of Ruben Amorim holding his Premier League Player of the Month award. And fingers crossed, Amorim wins the Manager of the Month award. But also, look at this. PFA Premier League Fans Player of the Month. You'll see a certain Senny has been nominated. Huge congratulations to him, man. The expectations on his shoulders when he came into the club, because of everything that had happened so far in the last couple of years with goalkeepers, because of everything that had happened so far this season with Onana. Like, we all had the fear. And we were just all, please don't. Please don't. Kept a clean sheet in his first game. It's the only bloody clean sheet we've had this season. And has since followed it up by being undefeated in the first 4. And this here, I think, right? Let me put this down here. I'm pretty sure that is how you vote for him. So if I go there, PFA, Premier League Player of the Month. Sorry, Brian, you're going to win the Premier League one. Let me get for Zenny. Oh, God damn it. Right, so you got to register. Let me just put this in there. Actually, I might as well just do this. People. United Peoples.tv. Terms agreement. Sign up. Oh, yeah, that was easy enough. Right, so I voted to go and vote there. All right. It'll be class to see him win an award in his first month at the club. And I think he kind of deserves it. Right. And this is him speaking to the BBC about how he plans to succeed at United. Thought this might be interesting to listen to.
There's been a lot of talks about the goalkeeper and a lot of criticism. I think having to be honest with yourself, all the goalkeepers who have been here have been really good goalkeepers. It's just sometimes the way they make it difficult maybe for themselves a little bit, and I don't want to speak about other goalkeepers, I just want to speak about myself. But I think one of the most important things and the key points was for me to not make it too difficult for myself, doing the easy things good and not really looking to make the most amazing saves or do the most amazing stuff. It's just being reliable. I think that's the most important thing, and not really wanting to do the nicest things or the most prettiest things, but I think the things that help the team the most is the most important. I think there's been,
you know how I think people have been like not saying this in a negative fashion, but they're like Senny off the pitch, like he loves, what is it, chess, likes playing golf, reading books, the slower pace of life. Almost a bit boring for some people. But it bloody works for him. Mr. Smith saying he's just doing his job. He's not spectacular, he's just solid. As far as I'm concerned, solid is spectacular. That's the way I look at it. If you, like, just, again, I don't know why I'm randomly thinking about this, okay? But if you were to speak to me about goalkeepers, I'd even say 2, maybe 3 years ago, a goalkeeper in the Premier League was like an obvious playmaker. If you look at Edison at City and Alisson at Liverpool, when they were going toe-to-toe for the titles together, like the way that football was played, there was so much playing out from the back. There was so much requirement on keepers to be like sweeper keepers, playmakers. Do you think that's reducing a little bit? Because it kind of feels like it is somewhat. And maybe goalkeepers are going more towards a little bit more traditional side of things, keeping it simple. Obviously, you're still going to have to come out and command your box and claim your crosses. And when you need to, rush out and close the lanes. And when you need to, be good under pressure and passing, etc. But it feels a little bit more standard compared to a couple of years ago where like goalkeepers were really one of the most important players in the team just because of how football was at that time. I just randomly thought of that. Johnny saying, you got a good goalkeeper when he doesn't get mentioned. Yeah, I've been saying that the whole way through. I want, in the most polite way possible, for Senny to just disappear into the shadows, for no one ever to really speak about him. And that's because we're too focused speaking about how good our attack is or our midfield. If you speak about a goalkeeper too much, then your football team isn't successful. That's as far as I'm concerned anyway. Someone down there saying systems in general are changing to be more direct. Yeah, I kind of feel like that probably suits United. It kind of suits what we're good at and kind of moves away from what we're not good at. Because Christ, for like, when would you start this? I'm guessing you'd started with Ten Hag. Was when United started trying to play out from the back with the ball. And we've had like 3.5 years of trying. And we're still not particularly good at it. I don't know what it is. Personnel, probably a big part of it. Tactical approach, maybe. But we're still not good at playing out from the back with the ball. So the fact that it is going a little bit more direct, I think that actually plays into United's hands a bit. So it'll be interesting to see if this trend that we're kind of seeing this season, is this the beginning of a new cycle of football in the Premier League? Moving away from the heavy metal, the heavy pressing sort of stuff to being a little bit more direct, a little bit more physical. Maybe. Arsenal is certainly leading the way, and they're on the way to winning the title with it. So it would suggest, yes, that's exactly what's happening. Jace, what are you saying? Saying, love that we sign players like Brian and Senny. Just chill guys who simply play great football. Shout out to the UPTV Discord regulars. Much love. Big up to you. Can I say on the Discord, we are just about to hit, listen to this, 10,000 members on Discord. Going to be doing a giveaway on there. And I've been saying this bloody loads. We're going to finally, I reckon within the next week or two, be in the position where I can manage all the giveaways. I've got so much stuff I want to give away to all of you. I told you, I've got like 8 to 10 framed A2 posters, like loads of Stan Chow ones. Maybe some, these are one of ones, these ones over here. You're not having them. They're mine. But there's loads more. And of course, the Stan Chow, George Best one down there. Anyway, yeah, 10,000. It's cool. Anyway, Senny, love you. Love you. And let's finish. Well, let's have a conversation here about Kobby. Kobby. This is from Fabrizio saying this, right? That Kobby would be open for a straight loan in January, which we know, but United, of course, it's their decision. But West Ham are offering Mainoo a guaranteed starting spot, while Napoli are looking for a midfielder. What's going on? Where did West Ham beat? They beat Newcastle? I think they beat Newcastle. Nick on the pod this week was saying, like, one thing we've got to do in January, we can't let go of Kobby. And honestly, where I currently am is that I think United should be letting Kobby go out on loan in January. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think if we keep him and he doesn't get enough game time, which I don't think he will, and we've seen that's established for now, then I don't think he gets into the England squad. And I think he therefore resents United a little bit. Whether he says it publicly, I very much doubt that. Kobby's been extremely professional. But I think it would change how he views Manchester United in a bad way. So I think the 6-month loan to let him play ball and maybe get into that World Cup squad, because he's not going to get that playing at Manchester United this season because Bruno is still holding that spot. I don't think he gets sold. I think that's just not a conversation that's going to be happening. Amrin was speaking about, obviously, Kobby not playing, problems, lack of games. Got a sneeze coming. You can feel a sneeze coming, like. Anyway, this is what he said to beIN Sports about Kobby. Right, have a listen.
I see Kobby Mainoo training today, and he deserves to play.
Again, different volumes everywhere. See what I mean?
But then I have to take one guy that is playing really well, and sometimes we should have played yesterday in Carabao Cup because I need to see Kobby Mainoo playing. I need to see Josh. All these guys, they deserve to play, but in the end, with one game, you need to make choices.
So he's just reiterating everything that he's said so far about, as far as he is concerned, Bruno and Casemiro right now, they're starting for Manchester United in midfield. And even when United weren't playing particularly well, he still wasn't starting Kobby. I don't want this season to end Kobby at United. But I'm fearful that if we don't allow him to leave on loan and get game time... I mean, look, truth be told here, even if he does get game time, like, what do you think? Like, about the England squad, the midfielder positions, right? Declan Rice is obviously going. how many positions are up for grabs? Like, if you're talking about Wharton, Anderson, and Mainoo, are all three of them potentially going to be in that squad, or is there not space for all three of them? I don't actually know. I don't know how big I don't know where the free spaces are inside that squad. But I don't particularly think that all three of them are going to go to the World Cup, so Tuchel's going to have to make some choices. Jude Bellingham, you can include in this conversation if you want to. Yeah, injuries can change things. Of course they can. But with the season that Elliot Anderson is having, even if Kobby was playing, he'd be behind him. Jordan Henderson, screw it, mate. If Jordan Henderson goes, Kobby's got no chance of getting in that squad. I'm just worried, and I've said this the whole time, that I'm worried that if we don't give Kobby enough game time, he's no chance of getting in that World Cup squad. And I think that might change how he views and his relationship with United. Josh saying, do you not think that Kobby will get more game time in December, January when AFCON is on? No, not really sure how AFCON's going to affect Kobby's game time opportunities. It being December and we have 6 games in December, yeah, well, maybe. We've finally going to have some midweek games. Some games that every 3 or 4 days for a little bit. But Spurs tomorrow. I might do a lunchtime video today. I'll be totally honest. I'm not sure there's going to be much that's going to be worthy of me having a conversation with you. I'll see. If I feel there's something there is, then I will do a video. But I won't ever do... sometimes there'll be lunchtimes where I don't do a video because I won't ever just do a video for the sake of doing a video. Today was supposed to be... Actually, no, it was yesterday. It was supposed to be when we released the latest video in our series, and this time looking at Adam Wharton and his performances. But given that everyone switched off after the draw against Forest, I'm kind of glad that we're delaying it a little bit. What else are you saying down here? AFCON means Bruno pushes up to the attack. I suppose that could happen. I think I've actually said that's probably most likely to happen, so yeah. I kind of undermined myself then. AFCON might be some opportunities for him. Yes, Ronald, you are right, mate. It is Friday, bruv. Come on. Come on. Map day. Let me know where you're watching from, city and the country, and we'll get a few of you added onto the map. And then we'll end the show. You can let me know what you're getting up to at the weekend. Who's having the most fun this weekend? Right, who's doing the most fun? Who's going to a gig? Who's going to a festival? Who's doing something? Let me know. So let me know where you're watching from, city and the country. What's going on here? Bit random, but we were just speaking about it there. Just speaking about Kobby. And this is the current England squad. Look at midfielders. Anderson's in there. Wharton's in there. Henderson's in there. Rice is in there. Rogers. Who's Scott? Is it Adam Scott? No. Alex Scott? Oh, it's Alex Scott. Is it Bournemouth? Yeah, him. All these players are getting in there. Ahead of Kobby. That's kind of the point I'm making. Right, let's go back to the map. We've got King Jam watching from Bridgetown in Barbados. Man, I'd strongly considering Barbados for a honeymoon. We've got Duncan watching from Takoradi in Ghana. Did I go Takoradi? Kind of rings a bell. I might have driven through there. No. Gonna put in the airport. Why not? One more. Let's have a look. Australia, Alice Springs. Bonza. Alice Springs. In the Northern Territory. Awesome. You're on the map. Bam. Wazzo's going to the cinema, see a new Predator movie. We like that. Matt James saying, any way of putting the map on Discord? I've always wanted to get a way so that you can interact with the map. You can just have a look through all the points that have been added on. Not quite got there yet. We're going down there. Adrian saying, I'm watching Cluj playing Romania. Nice. Nice. Right. I'm going to wrap this up. You might get a lunchtime video today. You might not. But I'll be here after the game tomorrow. 12:30 kickoff. My prediction was a 1-0 win. It's going to be... I don't know what to expect from the game. I don't know if United will go with a high press, or I don't know if United will sit back and try and frustrate them. There are different ways that we can approach this game. And I think if we choose the right one, we can win. Now, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for tuning in this week. Even if it has been a quiet week, you've all been here. So much love. If you are new, please do subscribe to United People's TV. I'll be back here after the game tomorrow. Fingers crossed we make it 4 wins and 1 draw in the last 5. And then we can enjoy that international break. Ish.